Latin American. Plate I. Top face of the monolith known as the dragon or the great turtle of Quirigua. This is one of the group of stelae altars which mark the ceremonial courts of this vanished Maya city, and is perhaps the masterwork not only of Mayan, but of Aboriginal American art. The top of the stone here figured shows a highly conventionalized demon or dragon mask, surrounded by a complication of ornament. The north and south, here lower and upper, faces of the monument contain representations of divinities. On the south face is a mask of the god with the ornamented nose, possibly Akuch, the death god. On the north, seated within the open mouth of the dragon, the teeth of whose upper jaw appear on the top face of the monument, is carved a serene, Buddha-like divinity shown in plate 25. The Maya date corresponding, probably, to 525 A.D. appears in a glyphic inscription on the shoulder of the dragon. The monument is fully described by W. H. Holmes, Art and Archaeology. Plate 2. Antine triangular carved stones, lateral and top views. In addition to the grotesque masks, limbs are clearly indicated. Plate 3. Antine stone ring, of the ovate type, with carved panels. Stone rings, or collars, form one of the types of symbolic stones from this region, the significance of which has so profoundly puzzled archaeologists. The specimen here figured is in the Museum of the American Indian, New York. Joyce. Central American Archaeology interprets the design as a human figure. The discs on either side of the head are ear plugs, arms and hands may be seen supporting them. The pit between the elbows is the umbilicus, while the legs are represented by the upper segments of the decorated panels exterior to the discs. Plate 4. Dance, or Erito, of the Haitian Indians in honor of the earth goddess. The ceremony is described by both Benzoni and Gomara. After the drawing in pic art, the religious ceremonies and customs of the several nations of the known world. London. Plate V. Aztec goddess, probably Coatlicue, the mother of Huitzilopochtli, an earth goddess. The statue is one of two Aztec monuments, the other being the calendar stone, plate 14, discovered under the pavement of the principal plaza of Mexico City in 1790, and is possibly the very image which Bernal Diaz mistook for Huitzilopochtli. The goddess wears the serpent apron, and carries a death's head at the girdle. Her own head is formed of two serpent heads, rising from her shoulders. The importance of Coatlicue in Aztec legend is evidenced by the story of the embassy sent to her by Montezuma after an engraving in first page of the Codex Virgivori Maya, representing the 5 regions of the world and their tutelary deities. Plate 7. 1. Colossal stone head representing Oyoxorqui, the moon goddess, sister of Huitzilopochtli. The head is not a fragment, but bears figures upon its base, and doubtless represents Oyoxorqui as slain by the fire snake, Xukotel, hurled by Huitzilopochtli, and afterwards beheaded by him. The original is in the Museo Nacional, Mexico. 2. Statue of the god of feasting, Xochicalco, Lord of Flowers. Crest is missing. The original is in the British Museum. 3. The fire snake, Xukotel, as represented in stone. The fire snake is associated with Huitzilopochtli, Tezcatlipoca, and the fire god, Xukotel, and stands, perhaps, in a kind of opposition to the Greek sea feather snake, Quetzalcoatl, the latter signifying rain and vegetation, the former drought and want. Original is in the British Museum. Plate 8. Figure from the Codex Borgia representing the red and the black Tezcatlipoca facing one another across a Tlactli court, upon which is shown a sacrificial victim painted with the red and white stripes of the morning and evening star, Venus. The red Tezcatlipoca symbolizes day, the black Tezcatlipoca, night. The ball court is a symbol of the universe. The morning and evening star might very naturally be looked upon as a sacrifice to the heaven god. Plate 9. Figures from the Codex Borgia, representing cosmic tutelaries. The upper figure represents the tree of the middle place rising from the body of the earth goddess, recumbent upon the spines of the crocodile from which earth was made. The tree is encircled by the world sea and is surmounted by the Quetzal, whose plumage typifies vegetation. 2 ears of maize spring up at its roots. The attendant deities are Quetzalcoatl and Makuputu, both symbols of fertility. In the figure they are apparently nourishing themselves on the upflowing blood, or vital saps, of the body of earth. The figure should be compared with the palinque cross and foliate cross tablets. The lower figure represents one of the 4 caryatid-like supporters of the heavens, Huitzilopochtli, as the Atlas of the southern quarter. Plate X. Stone mask of Xukotel. The face is represented as covered by the skin of a sacrificed victim. Flaying being a rite with which this god was honored. The reverse of the mask bears an image of the god in relief. The original is in the British Museum. Plate 11. Green stone image of Mictlantecutli, the skeleton god of death and of the underworld. The original is in the Stuttgart Museum. Plate 12. Figures representing the heavenly bodies. The upper figure, from Codex Vaticanus B, represents the conflict of light and darkness. The eagle is either the morning star or the sun, the plumed serpent is the symbol of the cosmic waters, from whose throat the hair, perhaps the earth or moon, is being snatched by the eagle. Similar figures appear in other codices. The serpent being in one instance represented as torn by the eagle's talons. The lower figure, from Codex Borgia, portrays sun, moon, and morning star. The sun god is within the red disk, he holds a bundle of spears in one hand, a spear thrower in the other, a stream of blood, apparently from a sacrifice offered by the morning star, which has the form of an ocelot, nourishes the sun. The moon appears as a hair upon the face of the crescent, which is filled with water and set upon a background of dark sky. Plate 13. Figures from Codex Vaticanus representing cataclysms bringing to an end cosmic suns, or ages of the world. The upper figure represents the close of the Sunday of winds, ending with the transformation of men, save for an ancestral bear, into apes. The lower pictures the end of the Sun of Fire, when saw birds and a human pair in a subterranean retreat escaped. Plate 14. The Aztec calendar stone, one of the two monuments, see Plate V for the other. Found beneath the pavement of the plaza of the City of Mexico in 1790. The outer band of decoration is formed of two fire snakes, each with a human head in its mouth. Between the tips of the serpent's tails is a glyph giving the date, 13 Xukotel, of the historical sun. That is, the beginning of the present age of the world. A decorative band formed of the 20-day signs surrounds the central figure, which consists of a sun face, with the glyph for Olin. While in the four adjacent compartments are the names of the eras of the four earlier suns. Sun rays, with other figures, appear in the spaces between the inner and outer decorative bands. Below is given a key, after Joyce, Mexican Archaeology. Plate 15. The Temple of Xochicalco, partially restored. The relief band, of which a section is given for detail, shows a serpent, a human figure, doubtless a deity, is seated beneath one of the great coils. After photographs in the Peabody Museum. The map is described by Boccherini as a map on prepared skin, representing the genealogy of the Chicomic emperors. From Tlotzin to the last king, Don Fernando Cortes Ixtlilxochitzin. Two of the 6 caves, or ancestral abodes of the Chicomic, shown on the whole map, are here represented. At the right, marked by a bat in the ceiling, is Tzinacanosdoc, the cave of the bat. Below it, in Nahuatl, being the inscription, Tzinacanosdoc, here was born Ixtlilxochitzin. The second cave shown is Coayacac, at the end of the trees. And here are shown a group of ancestral Chicomic chieftains, whose wanderings are indicated in the figures below. The Nahuatlan text below the figure of the cave is translated. All came to establish themselves there at Coayacac, where they were yet all together. Thence departed Amacui, with his wife, he went to Coluatlican. Thence again departed Nopal, he went with his wife to Xuxatla. Thence again departed Tlotli, he went with his wife to Ostoticpac. Plate 17. Interior of chamber, Mitla, showing type of mural decoration peculiar to this region. After photograph in the Peabody Museum. Yucatan. The Maya. Plate 18. Temple 3, Ruins of Title. After Memoirs of the Peabody Museum. Plate 19. Map of Yucatan, showing sites of ancient cities. After Morley. Plate 20. A. Tablet of the Foliated Cross, Palenque. This cross, like that shown in Plate 20, B, rests upon a monstrous head, doubtless representing the underworld, and is surmounted by the Quetzal, the symbol of rain and vegetation. It is possible that the greater of the two human figures represents a deity, the lesser a priest, or that both are divinities as in the analogous figures of the codices, cf. Plate 9, upper figure. After drawing in Maudsley. B. Tablet of the Cross, Palenque. The cross was encountered as an object of worship upon the island of Cozumel by the first coming Spaniards. Cruciform figures of several types are of frequent occurrence as cosmic symbols in Mexican and Mayan art. With this plate and with Plate 20, A, should be compared Plates 6 and 9. After drawing in Maudsley. C. Tablet of the Sun, Palenque. The two caryatid-like figures beneath the solar symbol doubtless represent the are-bearers of the heavens. After drawing in Maudsley. Plate 21. Stone lintel from Mensch, Chiapas, representing a male priest asperging a penitent who is drawing a barbed cord through his tongue. After photograph in the Peabody Museum. Plate 22. Final page from the Codex Desdensis showing serpent numbers and typifying the cataclysms destroying the world. Compare plates 12, 13, 14. Plate 23. Ceremonial precinct or plaza, Quirigua. An altar and 3 stelae of the old empire Maya type are shown. Other monuments are still in situ on this site. Among them the Quirigua dragon, Plate I, frontispiece. After photographed by Cornell. Lincoln. Plate 24. Image of a youthful deity with elaborate headdress seated in the mouth of the dragon of Quirigua, see frontispiece. After a photograph in the Peabody Museum. Plate 25. Monumental stela, Piedras Negras. This superb relief shows a divinity with quetzal plume crest, to whom a priest is presenting the group of bound captives, shown at the base. After photograph in the Peabody Museum. Plate 26. Jade pendant representing a vampire. After Hartman, archaeological research is on the Pacific coast of Costa Rica. Plate Xlif. For reference to the significance of the bat, as a deity. Plate 27. A. Colombian gold work. Ornaments in the forms of human and monstrous beings. Doubtless mythological subjects. The originals are in the American Museum of Natural History. B. Colombian gold work. The human figure apparently holds a staff or wand and may represent Bochica or similar personage. The originals are in the American Museum of Natural History. Plate 28. 1. Ceremonial dish of blackware with monster or animal forms found near Anoia, Antioquia. The original is in the Museum of the University of Nebraska. 2. Image of mother and child, red earthenware, from the coastal regions of Colombia. The original is in the Museum of the University of Nebraska. Plate 29. A scene from a vase, Truxillo, showing balsa. The drawing is in the Chamustude. After Joyce, South American Archaeology. The Andean South. I. The Empire of the Incas. Plate 30. Makuputu, in the valley of the Urubamba, north of Cuzco. These ruins of an ancient Inca city were discovered by Hiram Bingham, of the Yale University and National Geographical Society expedition, in 191-1, and are by him identified with the Tampu Tocco of Inca tradition, and Plate 38. From photograph, courtesy of Hiram Bingham, director of the Yale Peruvian expedition. Plate 31. Sculptured monolith from Chavindahuantar, now in the Museum of Lima. The design appears to be a deity armed with thunderbolts or elaborate wands, with a monster head surmounted by an elaborate headdress. If the figure is viewed reversed, the headdress will be seen to consist of a series of masks, each pendant from the protruding tongue of the mask above. A motif frequent in Nazca pottery, see Plate 32. The figure strongly suggests the central image of the Dionyco monolithic gateway. But it is to be observed that serpent heads, from the girdle. The rays of the headdress, and in the caduceus-like termination of the headdress, take the place of the puma, fish and condor accessories of the Dionyco monument. The relationship of this deity to those represented on plates 32, 33, 34, 35, and 37, is scarce to be doubted. Markham, Incas of Peru. Plate 32. Polychrome vase from the Nazca Valley, showing the multi-headed deity represented also by plate 31. The succession of masks connected by protruded tongues is a striking form of Nazca design. Examples are found elsewhere, even in Tecalcaqui territory. The vase here pictured is in the American Museum of Natural History. Plate 33. Embroidered figure from a Nazca robe in the Boston Museum of Fine Arts. Nazca fabrics represent the highest achievement in textile art of Aboriginal America. Figures of the type here shown are repeated with minor variations, each, no doubt, of symbolic significance, in a checkered or all-over design. The deity represented may be totemic, but obviously belongs to the same group as those shown in such pottery paintings as are represented in plates 32 and 34. Plate 34. Vase from Nazca representing a deity with a serpentiform body. The commonest motive in Nazca designs is the multiplication, in grotesque forms, of human masks. The deity here represented is commonly shown with a mask headdress, masks upon either cheek, with a girdle of masks or trophy heads, and with masks elsewhere, while either the body is shown as serpentiform or serpent-like wands are wielded by the hands. It is probable that a sky god is represented, possibly a local form of Viracocha. Compare plates 31, 36, 37. The vase pictured is in the American Museum of Natural History. Plate 35. Monolithic Gateway, Dionyco, Bolivia. This is regarded by many as the most remarkable prehistoric monument in America. It is approximately 10 by 12.5 feet in front dimension, and is estimated to weigh 9 to 12 tons. The decoration consists of a central figure, above the doorway, which is certainly a sky god and probably Viracocha, and a banded frieze showing groups of mythic beings. After a photograph in the Peabody Museum. Plate 36. Plaque probably representing Viracocha. The head is surmounted by a rayed disc, doubtless the sun. Tears, symbolic of rain, stream from the eyes. Above the hands, on either side, are dragon-like creatures, which are doubtless the equivalent of the wands or serpents shown in the hands of similar figures, and which may represent the two servants of the god, as they appear in legend. Plate 37. Vase painting of the sky god, Dionyco style, from Pacacamac. Compare plates 31, 34, 35, 36. After Besla, contributions to the archaeology of the Empire of the Incas. Plate 38. Temple of the Three Windows, Makuputu. Windows are not a frequent feature of Inca architecture, and when Bingham discovered at Makuputu the temple with three conspicuous windows, here shown, this discovery seemed to give added plausibility to the theory that Makuputu is indeed the Tampu Tocco of the Incas. And compare plate 30. From photograph, courtesy of Hiram Bingham, director of the Yale Peruvian expedition. The tropical forests, the Orinoco and Guyana, Plate 39. 1. Stone seat from Manabi, Ecuador. After Seville, Antiquities of Manabi, Ecuador. 2. Painted wooden seat from Guyana, such a hollow as is referred to in the tale of Maconora and Dionyco. 3. Central American carved stone metate in the collection of George S. Walsh, Lincoln, Nebraska. Plate XL. Vase from the island of Mara-O, with characteristic decoration. The funeral vases and other remains from this region have suggested to El Neto that here was the fabled Isle of the Amazons. The vase pictured is in the American Museum of Natural History. Plate XLI. Dance or ceremonial masks of Brazilian Indians, now in the Peabody Museum. Plate XLI. Trophy head prepared by Jivaro Indians, Ecuador, now in the Peabody Museum. In the preparation of such trophies the bones are carefully removed, the head shrunken and dried, and frequently, as in this example, ornamented with brilliant feathers. The custom of preparing the heads of slain enemies or of sacrificial victims as trophies was widespread in Aboriginal America, North and South. The North American custom of scalping being probably a late development from this earlier practice. It is possible that some at least of the masks which appear upon mythological figures in Nazca and other representations are meant to betoken trophy heads. The Pampas to the Land of Fire. The Far South. Table designed to show the sequence of Aboriginal American cultures and their chronologic relations. Representations of pottery and other designs from the Diagite region showing the influence of Dionyco and possibly Nazca are to be found in the publications of Ambrosetti, Bowman, Lafonquevedo, and others. Perhaps the most interesting is the potsherd showing the figure of a deity bearing an axe with a trident handle, while near him is what seems clear to be a representation of a thunderbolt. A trophy head is at his girdle.